Okay, guys, we're going to do setup of the game. Basically, you're going to start with your hero card, primary side up, and you're going to shuffle and deal yourself 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're going to take your deck, put it off to the side. This is your deck, this is your hand. There's basically 3 rows that you're going to be putting cards in. You're going to have your bottom row, which is your resource row, your center row, which is beside your hero, which is going to be your equipment, such as your weapons, your armor, or trinkets, etc., etc. You're also going to be putting your ongoing abilities in that row that will affect the gameplay, and they will stay there until they're destroyed by yourself or your opponent. Once they're destroyed, they're put into the graveyard. The graveyard would be somewhere over here. There's a reason for the graveyard, because you can bring cards from the graveyard back into play if you have the appropriate card to do it. So you're going to take your 7 cards. You're going to have a quick peek at them here. Both you and your opponent are going to do that. You're going to take a look at your 7 cards, and you're going to decide at this point if these 7 cards are what you want to play. And if they're not, you can do a mulligan, which basically means take all 7 cards, put them back in your deck, shuffle your deck, and deal yourself 7 more cards. I'm not going to shuffle, I'll just deal those 7 back to me, which you wouldn't do in a real game. You have to shuffle your cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now you have your 7 cards. Your opponent's ready to play, you are ready to play. Who goes first? Roll 2 dice, rock, paper, scissors, run around the block. Whoever gets winded first gets to be first player. Whatever, what have you, whatever you decide. Let's say for the sake of argument, I won the coin toss. I'm first player. There's 3 basic steps to the game, and just bear with me 1 second here. The first step is actually to pick up a card. Now, because we are the first player, and this is the start of the game, we do not pick up a card. So we just look at our cards and play a resource card. First is play a card. And we are going to play a resource in the resource area. Now we have 1 resource to play with. We look at our cards again, and we look at the values that are on the cards. And if you have a card that has a value of 1, you can spend a resource and play that card. In this particular circumstance, I do not have a card that has a value of 1. So basically my turn is over. I will then pass to the next player. That player does the same thing I just did. The only difference being is because they're the second player, they get to pick up a card, and then they get to put down a card in their resource row. Now their turn is done. The turn passes back to me. I am going to now, and from here on in, I can pick up a card at the beginning of my turn. But before I pick up a card, I have to make sure that if any cards that I used that were exhausted in the last turn, I have to ready them. In other words, turn them back upright. Let's move this up here so you can see it. And then I draw a card. Once I draw a card, I can then put down a card for a resource. Now, as you can see, I do have a resource card here, and I do have a location card here. But let's say I didn't have a resource or a location card. But I want to play a resource card down here. I can do that. I just have to take any card in my deck that I don't really value as much as the rest of them, and I can put them in my resource row face down. This is now considered a resource card. So you can use any card in your deck as a resource card any card in your hand as a resource card if you do not have an actual location card or a quest card in your hand. Obviously, if you do have a quest card or a location card in your hand, those are the 2 best cards to play in your resource row. So now I've picked up a card and I placed a card down in my resource row, and I now have 2 resources. I look at my cards. I've got 2 cards in here that I can actually play that have a value of 2. I'm going to exhaust my resources, and I'm going to play my mount. The mount doesn't really have an attack, but it does have a special ability that is, halfway decent. I still have nothing to attack with, so I can't go. So now the opponent does the same thing, and he does all his stuff, and the turn goes back to me. First step, ready your cards, pick up a card, and then play a card. Now let's just cut to the chase a little bit. I'll grab I'll grab this card. Okay. Now I have 3 resources. So I'm going to look in my deck. Whoops, upside down. Upside down? Yeah, upside down. I have a resource here that I can play, an ally card that I can play. But in order to play this card, I have to exhaust 3 resources. So I'm going to exhaust 3 resources, and I'm going to play that card. This card cannot attack on the turn that it entered. It entered this turn, so it's not going to be able to attack my opponent's hero or my opponent's allies at all during this turn. My opponent does the same thing. Now it turns back to me. So far we haven't attacked each other or anything like that. First thing in my turn is to ready my cards, pick a card from the deck, and place a card. Again, I'm going to place another resource. Actually, I'm going to place a quest into my resource row. I'm going to look at my cards now. And I've got 4 resources. And I've got... Actually, I have 2 cards here. I've got a ability card and an ally card. And I've got a weapon card. And what's interesting about this is the options that I can do at this point. If I really want to get my hero into the fight, I already have an ally out there. So I'm going to exhaust 4 resources, and I am going to put my axe next to my hero. Exhaust 4 resources. And now I can't put any more cards out there, but I can fight with my ally, and I can also fight with my hero. Because now my hero can fight, because now my hero has a weapon. My weapon cost is 0, so I don't have to pay anything to fight with that weapon. I don't have to pay anything to fight with my hero, because I already paid its enter cost. So when you fight with a weapon, when you fight with your ally, all you do is exhaust it, and you deal the damage according to what it says in the top right, the lower left corner, and he will then defend. He will also attack you back with what his values are, not taking in consideration the special ability of this card. Should he defeat my card, then my card then goes into my graveyard. I cannot use that card unless I have another ally that pulls that card back into the game. I now want to attack one of his heroes, his hero or his ally that he has out there. I'm going to attack with my axe, and my hero is going to use it. So I'm going to exhaust both of those. They're going to attack, they're going to kill, let's say, his ally. His ally goes to his graveyard, and now the turn passes to him. He's going to ready everything that he has, and he's going to have his turn. Back to me again. First portion of my turn, ready all of my exhausted cards, okay, including these here, and I'm good to go. I'm going to pick another ability card, pick another card. I'm going to play that card. Now, I have 5 resources here. I can pay 2 to complete this quest. I can shuffle my graveyard back into my deck. I can do all this sort of stuff. So pay attention to what's going on in your resource row. And, that's pretty much it, basically, on how to play this game. There are a little more advanced things like chaining and linking and stuff like that. Honestly, I don't see too much of that happen in the basic friendly, casual game. I think you might see that more in tournaments and things of that nature, but that's the game in a nutshell. I hope that I have actually... Oh, there's one more thing I want to talk about. Some ability cards or quest cards have you remove a card from your graveyard and completely out of play. That basically means now that card can never enter play again, even if you've got cards that state that you can pull cards from your graveyard in. It is now classified as not in your graveyard, not in your deck. That card is no longer in play whatsoever. That's the importance of the graveyard. And that is pretty much how you play the game. And maybe I'll do another video on deck building, basic deck building. I'm not good at it, but there are rules to follow when you are building decks. Hope you enjoyed these videos so far, and thanks for watching.